Yun Chujio was very guilty. After all, she was in the wrong first, so she tried to explain to everyone at the beginning. However, the people of the Wood Peak were all red-eyed, so they would not listen to her explanation. They rushed forward and wanted to catch her. Yun Chujio was not stupid. If she was caught, it was possible that the crowd would beat her to death. No matter what, it was more important to save her life first. Therefore, this guy planned to escape and go to Master Xiaohu's place to hide. However, because the people of the Wood Peak were gathered here, there were many people. Yun Chujio had no way to escape. Yun Chujio could only retreat again and again. Gradually, she was very close to the thorn. Because she knew that there was an array separating them, Yun Chujio was not worried that the thorn would attack her. Suddenly, a thorn vine rolled Yun Chujio up. Fortunately, the vine had just borne fruit, so the thorn had not grown out in time. Otherwise, Yun Chujio would have been pierced into a sieve. No one thought that the thorn would break through the array and attack Yun Chujio. By the time everyone reacted, Yun Chujio was already gone. Mountain Master Ren's mind was blank. No matter what, he first told the disciples to quickly retreat from the thorn attack range and then reported it to Master Xiahou. Master Xiahou finally got a good sleep last night. Early in the morning, he felt that his right eyelid was twitching. He felt that something was going to happen. He did not expect that, as expected, something would happen again. Moreover, it was caused by that Yun Chujio. Master Xiahou regretted it. If he had known this would happen, he would have firmly grounded Yun Chujio yesterday. She was a troublemaker. Why did she go to the Wood Peak all of a sudden? It was one thing for her to go, but she actually swallowed the black egg. To take a step back, if she swallowed the black egg, she would confess her crimes. Why did she run away? Now it had disappeared into thin air. Was this disaster dead or gone somewhere? The other 3 peak masters also rushed over when they heard the news. They gathered together to analyze Yun Chujio's whereabouts. Mountain Master Zhao of the Fire Peak glanced at the thorny in the distance. Then he said, "Since Yun Chujio was attacked by the thorn and disappeared after being trapped by it, I think Yun Chujio's disappearance is most likely related to the thorn." Water Mountain's Mountain Master Mo said in confusion, "Mountain Master Zhao, although what you said makes sense, where did the thorn take Yun Chujio? It doesn't have a storage ring like us, so where did it take a living person?" Mountain Master Ren suddenly exclaimed, "I remember. The thorn was an ancient tree, so it had its own space and was usually used to store water. Could it have taken Yun Chujio into its own space?" Everyone was stunned. This was very possible. Then the question was, should they save Yun Chujio or not? If they did, there was only one way, and that was to kill the thorn. Once the thorn died, Yun Chujio, who was trapped in its space, was naturally released. However, the thorn was a treasure passed down from the Wood Peak, and it was the only one in the world. It was a pity to kill it just like that. Everyone present had their own opinions, but no one was willing to speak first. The atmosphere was a little stagnant. At this moment, Chu Quan, who had been watching from not far away, walked over and bowed to everyone. Then he said, "Seniors, I take the liberty to say that 15 minutes have passed since Yun Chujio went missing. I feel that Yun Chujio is basically dead. If that's the case, why should we get involved in this? Moreover, she brought this upon herself. Her death was not unjustified." Mountain Master Rin berated, "Shut up, where is your place to speak?" Even though Mountain Master Ren was berating him, his tone wasn't harsh. It was obvious that he was just putting on an act. Chu Quan retreated to the side with an embarrassed expression. However, he was feeling proud in his heart. It was the stupidest thing to pick on someone like Shan Shan. At the crucial moment, a few words were enough to kill someone. After scolding Chu Quan, Mountain Master Ren sighed. "Everyone, although Chu Quan has overstepped his boundaries, what he said does make sense. 15 minutes have already passed, and Yun Chujio is probably dead. If that's the case, why do we still need to go all out and kill the assassins? Even if Master Bailey of the Origin Chaotic Clan comes, he won't be able to say anything. Yun Chujio brought this on herself." Although Mountain Master Zhao of the Fire Peak didn't like Yun Chujio before, if it wasn't for Yun Chujio, he wouldn't have discovered the secret on the board, so he couldn't help but say, "What you're saying is just speculation. What if the little girl is still alive? She's waiting for us to save her, but we're not going to save her. This isn't right." Mountain Master Mo of Water Mountain agreed with Mountain Master Zhao's opinion, while Mountain Master Lien of Earth Mountain agreed with Mountain Master Ren's opinion. It was 2-2. Now, it was up to Master Xiahou. Master Xiahou felt that he had never encountered such a dilemma in his life. Should he save her or not? Master Xiahou thought of what happened at the Divine Devil Hall and what Master Bailey had said. He gritted his teeth. Yun Chujio won't die so easily. Save her? Naturally, no one dared to disobey Master Xiahou's orders. Even though Mountain Master Ren could not bear to kill Thorn, he could only prepare to attack together with Master Xiahou. The 5 of them took their positions. Just as they were about to attack, they saw Thorn tremble violently and even let out a miserable cry. Everyone was stunned. What was going on? Just as everyone was stunned, a wet little girl appeared on the ground. Fuck? Why aren't you showing off now? Why are you attacking me? Didn't I just eat your seed? Do you have to be so stubborn? Son of a bitch. No one knew what Yun Chujio had done, but the thorn was as obedient as a little wife. Even though Yun Chujio scolded it fiercely, it did not attack. Yun Chujio dried the clothes on her body and cursed a few more words before she left the thorn's attack range. Sectmaster, you're finally here. I'm going to be bullied to death by the people of the Wood Peak. Woo-woo, they're going to cut open my stomach. Also, this bastard thorn almost absorbed me as nourishment. I'm so unlucky. Yun Chujio said with an aggrieved look. Mountain Master Ren and the disciples of the Wood Peak who were watching from not far away almost fainted from anger. Can you still have some face? Who is bullying who? Chu Shanshan was extremely disappointed when she saw that Yun Chujio was not dead. Now that she heard Yun Chujio inverting black and white. Immediately she screamed sharply, Yun Chujio, you're spouting nonsense. You're a jinx, you shameless bitch. You were clearly the one who swallowed the black eggs of our Wood Peak, yet you're returning our seeds. Yun Chujio looked at Sect Master Xiahou with a wronged expression. Sect Master, look, even that Chu Shanshan dares to scold me and bully me like this when you are here. Can you imagine how much I have suffered before? Mountain Master Ren of the Wood Peak glared at Chu Shanshan. What a brainless thing. Yun Chujio, I will punish the disciples of our Wood Peak for speaking rudely. Now let's talk about the problem of the black egg. You swallowed the black egg of our Wood Peak. Shouldn't you have an explanation? Yun Chujio really wanted to shout. She didn't want to do it either, alright? It was all Go Weiba fault, alright? Mountain Master Ren, I admit that it was my fault. At that time, I didn't know what went wrong in my head. It was most likely due to my color blindness, so I thought that another white egg had fallen, so I snatched it. In a moment of desperation, I stuffed it into my mouth. Yun Chujio explained with a dry smile. Mountain Master Ren was so angry that he was twitching. Are you lying to a ghost? Even colorblindness can distinguish between black and white, okay? I don't care what your reason is. Just because of you, our Wood Peak suffered a huge loss. Shouldn't you compensate us? How about this? 300 million high-grade spirit stones. This matter will be settled. Otherwise, even if the sect master pleads for mercy for you, our Wood Peak will not agree, Mountain Master Ren said coldly. 300 million high-grade spirit stones? Why didn't he rob them? This old man Ren must be thinking about the spirit stones she won in the competition. How shameless! However, it was rare for this fellow to awaken her conscience. In the end, this matter was really her fault. It was reasonable to give some compensation, but 300 million was out of the question. Mountain Master Ren, everything has a cause and effect. If you really pursue this matter, you really shouldn't ask me for this money. Previously, I was originally standing behind the crowd, but it was that Chu Shanshan who seduced me to the front. If I stood at the back, wouldn't all these things disappear? Moreover, wasn't Chu Shanshan already? If it wasn't for me, there wouldn't have been a black-hearted flower. Therefore, this black egg started because of me and was swallowed by me. Isn't this fair? What money do you want from me? Yun Chujio said with a very reasonable look. Yun Chujio was obviously pestering him. This guy was very bad. Anyway, after saying these words, at least it made Mountain Master Ren dislike Chu Shanshan and offended her little fairy Geo. I'll torture you to death. Mountain Master Ren was so angry that he couldn't say a word. He had never seen such a shameless person. Chu Shanshan ignored Chu Quan's attempts to stop her. She scolded loudly, Yun Chujio, you bitch. You're spouting nonsense. You were the one who wanted to steal the eggs, that's why you went to the front. What does it have to do with me? Even if you don't come, there will still be some black-hearted flowers. Don't flatter yourself. Shut up. Men, send her to the law enforcement office and lock her in the self-reflection cave. Mountain Master Ren thought for a moment. The self-reflection cave was also ruined by Yun Chujio's bad deed. He changed his words and said, lock her in her own courtyard and meditate. Don't come out without my orders. Chu Quan saw that Mountain Master Ren was furious and was afraid that he would demote Chu Shanshan to an outer sect disciple in a fit of anger. He quickly let a few disciples drag Chu Shanshan away. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Chu Shanshan's words reminded her. She smiled and said to Mountain Master Ren, please calm down first. I can't run away anyway. Let's have a discussion. Mountain Master Ren snorted. The worst thing he had done was to chase out this jinx from the very beginning. There wouldn't be such trouble later on. Mountain Master Ren, actually, if I hadn't come, this thorn might not have produced a black egg. If you don't believe me, it'll help you ask the thorn. Yun Chujio pointed at the thorn with her finger and said, bastard thorn, tell me, is it because I'm here that you're so happy that you produced a black egg? The Fire Peak's Mountain Master Zhao couldn't help but laugh out loud. It wasn't like an old hen laid an egg, but this little girl's words were really interesting. The spike had brought Yun Chujio into his dimension just now because it wanted to take revenge. Was it easy? It had taken hundreds of thousands of years to breed a black egg just to reproduce. Who would have thought that it would be eaten by this little girl? This was outrageous. It felt that if it strangled Yun Chujio with vines, it would definitely be stopped by Mountain Master Ren and the others. Therefore, it planned to poison Yun Chujio to death in its own space. The water in the space of the thorn was not ordinary water. It contained the venom secreted by the thorn. It thought that Yun Chujio would be poisoned to death once she entered. Who would have thought that not only was that little girl not poisoned to death, she even drank all the water in it. Moreover, this pervert was even prepared to use a talisman to blow up its own space. Thorn was so scared that it was trembling. It had no choice but to release Yun Chujio from its own space. Now that it saw Yun Chujio asking it fiercely, it recalled Yun Chujio threatening it in its space. It could only wave its vines to express its response. Mountain Master Ren, did you see that? The bastard thorn has already admitted it. It was to welcome me that it formed a black egg. This has nothing to do with your wood peak, Yun Chujio said with a smile. Mountain Master Ren wished he could slap her to death. Even a fool could see that that thorn was clearly afraid of her, so it responded with compromise. Sect Master, you are a sensible person. What do you think we should do about this matter? Mountain Master Ren finally understood. He could not win against that scoundrel Yun Chujio, so it was better not to waste time. Master Xiaohou felt his head ache a little. Why did his brain cramp up and bring this scourge back? It was simply the stupidest decision he had ever made in his life. Now that the matter was clear, Yun Chujio had swallowed the black egg of the other wood peak. What else was there to say? She should just pay the compensation. This little girl just had to come up with a bunch of nonsense. It was really difficult to deal with. Before Master Xiaohou could say anything, he heard Yun Chujio say, Mountain Master Ren, forget it. Although it's not all my fault, I can see that you're already so old. It's not easy, so I agree to compensate you. Should I not pursue the matter of giving you 300 million high-grade spirit stones? Everyone present was dumbfounded. Was this a tiger that didn't eat meat but ate cabbages instead? How did this little scoundrel suddenly have a conscience? Mountain Master Ren thought for a moment. No matter what, he had to get the money first. Thus, he nodded his head and said, "That's right. As long as you compensate our wood peak with 300 million high-grade spirit stones, this matter will be written off and we will not pursue it any further." Yun Chujio nodded her head and then asked Sect Master Xiaoho, "Master Sect Master, you heard it too, right? You have to help me testify. Otherwise, when the time comes, I will give the money to Mountain Master Ren and he will not admit to it anymore." Sect Master Xiaoho could not wait for this matter to be over. He promised repeatedly that he would supervise Mountain Master Ren and Yun Yun. Yun Chujio sighed. "Sigh, the human heart is hard to predict. I just found a seed in my space. Mountain Master Ren, actually, if you are magnanimous enough to forgive me, I intend to give it to you. However, if you insist on being calculative with me, then I will take this seed back to the Primordial Chaos sect and plant it." Everyone saw that Yun Chujio was holding a shiny black seed in her hand. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Although Mountain Master Ren had never seen a thorn seed before, he believed Yun Chujio's words without a doubt. He felt that Yun Chujio did not have the courage to lie to him. Therefore, he was so excited that he reached out to snatch the seed in Yun Chujio's hand. "Stop. Mountain Master Ren, you said something just now. Have you forgotten it so quickly? As long as I give you 300 million spirit stones, won't we be even?" Yun Chujio curled her lips and said while hiding behind Master Xiaoho, "Spirit stones, I don't want the spirit stones. As long as you give me the seed, we will be even." Mountain Master Ren said anxiously, "Seriously, you're still so fickle at your age. Forget it, I'll give it to you. Remember, we are even. You can't take revenge on me because of this matter in the future. If you are jealous of a shrimp like me, you are a puppy." Yun Chujio said as she handed the seed to Mountain Master Ren. After obtaining the seed, Mountain Master Ren immediately ignored Yun Chujio and studied the seed with the other elders of the Wood Peak as if they were possessed. Yun Chujio shrugged her shoulders and walked to the front of Master Xiaoho and said, "Master Xiaoho, I have troubled you recently. I have decided to ground myself. I won't come out for a walk for the next 2 days." Master Xiaoho was so touched that tears welled up in his eyes. He couldn't help but nod. Good. If you need anything, just look for Leng Kuei. As long as you stay in the courtyard and don't come out, anything is fine." Yun Chujio, "Old man Xiaoho, do you know that you won't have any friends like this?" Under the friendly gaze of the Wood Peak disciples, Yun Chujio left the Wood Peak and returned to her dormitory. In that case, did Yun Chujio really find that seed in the thorn space? Of course not. If there were seeds in the thorn space, they would have been used to reproduce long ago. There were more than 10 seeds in a black egg. Yun Chujio tried her best to get one out of Guai Chao's mouth. Although this fellow had a black heart, it wasn't black to the end. She felt that it was better to leave one for the Wood Peak. This fellow was familiar with human nature. If she had only taken out this seed, Mountain Master Ren would definitely have made her compensate him. He felt that it was because of her that he had lost the other seeds. However, after all this trouble, if she took out this seed again, not only would he not be resentful, he would definitely be grateful. This was a setup. Of course, she could blackmail Mountain Master Ren, but for the sake of the rest of her life, it was better to forget about it. As for why this fellow wanted to ground her, it was because this fellow felt that he had been too high profile recently to avoid attracting too much hatred, so it was better to give up for a few days. There was another reason, that was because she received a voice transmission talisman from Di Baiming, saying that she would be able to rush to the Origin Killing sect tonight after the matter was settled. A certain Jiao tidied up the house and got Mao Mao Chiu to bring out a lot of wild flowers from the Great Void Mystic Realm, decorating the house very warmly. After finishing everything, she scolded Guai Chao while waiting for Di Baiming to arrive. Guai Chao was already used to it. If he wanted to scold it, he could scold it. After all, there would be a lot of leaves missing. If he scolded it casually and did not get scolded every few days, it would not be used to it. Yun Chujio held her chin and pondered. The gigolo said that he was going to fetch something. What was it exactly that he was going to fetch? Just as the gigolo was pondering, Di Baiming walked in from outside. A certain Jiao thought sourly in her heart, It's still better to have high spiritual power. Looking at the gigolo coming in and out of the sky killing sect, it's as if he's playing around. He's so cool. Di Baiming was still dressed in white. He saw that the house had been meticulously tidied up, and there was food on the table. Most importantly, his wife was looking at him with a smile. He suddenly felt that everything was worth it. Prince Charming, did everything go smoothly? Yun Chujio helped Di Baiming wash his hands and face. Seeing Yun Chujio's attitude, Di Baiming unconsciously smiled. And how have you been these few days? Did you get into trouble? Yun Chujio thought to herself, great. It was simply wonderful. This guy was afraid that Di Baiming would say that she was a demon. Last time, because of helping Xiao Hanyo to snatch the fire of nirvana, Di Baiming almost died. He lost his temper. This time, in order to look for the little flame, she almost became a monkey. How would she dare to say that? She just laughed and said a few perfunctory words. Di Baiming did not care too much. He felt that he had only left for a few days, so nothing major should happen. How would he know that the person in front of him was a troublemaker? In just a few days, he had almost turned the sky and earth upside down. The two of them sat down and ate as they chatted. Yun Chujio asked, Prince Charming, did Wu Ji's brain and the little madman improve quickly? They're not too useless. The main thing is that if they don't become stronger, they'll lose their lives. Naturally, they'll become stronger. Di Baiming said indifferently. Yun Chujio knew that the words, not too useless, from this guy's mouth meant that he was not bad. With the help of the two of them, the pretty boy would also be able to relax a little. After dinner, Yun Chujio insisted that Di Baiming accompany her to the roof to look at the stars. A certain Jiao who hated the heavens felt that this was an insult to her intelligence, but she could not resist the coquetry of a certain Jiao. She could only carry Yun Chujio and jump onto the roof. Prince Charming, look at how beautiful the starry sky is. I can't tell. Prince Charming, can you see over there? That's the Cowherd and Vega star, the one who met on Magpie Bridge. That cowherd is such a good-for-nothing. If it's me, he'll kill anyone who tries to stop us from being together. Prince Charming, look, it's a shooting star. Hurry up and make a wish. Childish. Fuck, can we still have a proper relationship? A certain Jiao glared at a certain Jiao with all her might, an arrogant and unromantic person. A certain Jiao saw that certain Jiao's eyes were sparkling, and she suddenly felt blessed and said, Little Jiao, your eyes are even more beautiful than the stars in the sky. A certain Jiao was instantly healed. Her little face flushed red as she leaned on Di Baiming's body, feeling that everything was so beautiful. A certain Jiao lowered her head, and the two of them kissed. A certain Jiao suddenly understood the beauty of looking at the stars. She could still come out often in the future to take a look. This tone this true self liked. The two of them, who were bubbling in pink bubbles, lingered for a long time. It was not until late at night that they returned to the house. After the two of them washed up briefly, they lay on the bed. Di Baiming hugged his fragrant and soft little wife. It was as if a ball of fire was burning in his heart. However, he could only burn it dry and could not put out the fire. Hence, Guai Chao suffered another round of mixed scoldings from both men and women. He took it as a compliment. He thought to himself, it was a good thing that he was mentally strong. Otherwise, he would definitely be scolded and depressed. After a good night's sleep, the next day, the two of them had just eaten breakfast when Di Baiming frowned. Someone is here. Di Baiming looked very unhappy. It was really not a good time. It was not easy for him to stay with his little wife for a few days. Why would he come if he had nothing to do? Di Baiming entered the house unwillingly. Yun Chujio removed the isolation array and opened the courtyard door. She saw Leng Kuei standing outside. Senior brother Leng, why are you looking for me? Leng Kuei snorted. Do you think I'm willing to look for you? Isn't it because master is afraid that you won't keep your word and cause trouble again? He asked me to look after you. Yun Chujio's heart was like a mutt. Was her credibility so bad now? Old man Xia Ho still sent Leng Kuei to look after her? What happened to the trust between people? Was it all fed to the dogs? Senior brother Lung, don't worry. I won't go out. I'll stay in the courtyard obediently for the next few days. Yun Chujio said confidently. Lung Kue looked at her with disdain. You said that you wouldn't cause any trouble 2 days ago. In the end, you swallowed the black egg of the Wood Peak yesterday. Look at you. Ever since you came, our Shi Yuan sect has never stopped. Forget about the gambling. After all, they are stupid. Did you cause the Fire Peak's plaque and the self-reflection cave? Because of you, the self-reflection cave hasn't been used properly, not to mention the Wood Peak's black egg. Yun Chujio was afraid that if Lung Kue said anything more, Di Baiming would notice the flaws. She quickly interrupted. Senior brother Lung, I will stay in the courtyard obediently this time. If you don't believe me, I swear. If I go out to cause trouble again, I will be struck by lightning. Is that all right? All right, if that's the case, then I will go back. I'm warning you, if you continue to cause trouble like blowing up the self-reflection cave and swallowing the black egg, even my master will not be able to protect you. Lung Kue did not want to stay here either. Firstly, he did not like Yun Chujio, and secondly, the spiritual energy at the foot of the mountain was thin. Therefore, seeing that Yun Chujio had sworn, he turned around and left. Yun Chujio closed the door and turned around. She saw Di Baiming staring at her gloomily. What happened to the self-reflection cave and the black swallowing egg? Didn't you say that nothing happened? Yun Chujio kicked the small stone on the ground with a guilty conscience. It's just a small matter. It's just a small matter. A small matter? Why would the disciples of the sect leader keep an eye on you for a small matter? Are they afraid that you will go out and cause trouble? Di Baiming was indeed arrogant, but it did not mean that his thoughts were not meticulous. Yun Chujio had no choice but to cut corners and tell him the whole story. Then, she said weakly, Prince Charming, I have no choice. I was forced to do it, so, it can be forgiven, right? Di Baiming sneered, no choice? No choice? Let me ask you, if you did not take the initiative to steal the Fire Peak's plaque, would there be anything after that? The 10,000-year-old fire marrow is much more powerful than you think. What could happen to it? Taking a step back, you didn't even think about it clearly, yet you carelessly went to flirt with others, just to enter a self-reflection cave. Aren't you wrong? Also, if you didn't go to the Wood Peak to join in the fun, would there be any black egg matter? Yun Chujio was so guilty that she didn't even dare to look at Di Baiming. She encouraged herself. Little Gio, can you be a little tougher? What's there to be afraid of? Aren't you fine now? Aren't you jumping around? This fellow had been hinting for a long time before he straightened his back and said, Prince Charming, everything you said is right, but am I not fine now? I will pay attention next time. Di Baiming snorted coldly. Write a self-reflection. Write it now. A certain Gio wanted to resist, but seeing Di Baiming's gloomy face, she resigned herself to fate and took out a pen and paper to write a self-reflection. This fellow comforted himself. It's not like he hadn't written it before. If he wrote it, then so be it. Just treat it as practicing calligraphy. This fellow couldn't remember how many self-criticism letters he had written in the past, so he wrote a random number and wrote a piece of paper in a carefree manner before handing it over to Di Baiming. Di Baiming glanced at it and said with disdain, You dog-like calligraphy hasn't improved at all. Since you have the time to cause trouble everywhere, you might as well practice your calligraphy. A certain Gio cursed in her heart. Practice your head. Although my writing isn't good, my drawing of yours is very good. Thus, this fellow's thoughts went astray. Di Baiming read through the self-criticism book. Although he felt that it was more perfunctory, it could be considered as a little caution. Thus, he said, although the words are ugly, the content is passable. Do you know that it's wrong? A certain Gio did not say anything. Di Baiming frowned and raised his voice. Little Gio, what are you thinking about? I'm thinking about your fruit, I'm thinking about you. Of course, I'm thinking about what you said. I was wrong. In the future, I will definitely think twice before I act. I will never make the same mistake again. I promise. A certain Gio was so close that she almost let it slip. Di Baiming nodded in satisfaction. He said earnestly, "Little Jiao, it's not that I'm harsh on you. It's just that your spiritual power is too low right now. Although you can crush the jade token I gave you at the critical moment and I can come and help you, if you are locked in a secret realm or something like that, I'm powerless." Yun Chujia's heart warmed when she heard what Di Baiming said. To be able to make this handsome gigolo say that he was powerless, it could only mean that he was very concerned about her safety. Yun Chujio hugged Di Baiming's waist. There was a layer of water vapor in her eyes. "Yes, my Prince Charming, I know. I will definitely pay attention in the future. Prince Charming, you have to pay attention to your safety too. We are all safe and sound. This is the best thing." Di Baiming lowered his head and wanted to kiss Yun Chujio. He suddenly frowned. "Damn it, who was it? Why is it so hard to stay quietly with my little wife?" A sharp scolding came from outside the courtyard. "Yun Chujio, little bitch, come out. Aren't you going to the competition stage? I'm here to challenge you." Yun Chujio frowned. Chu Shanshan? Wasn't she already grounded? Why did she come out today? It was probably because Chu Quan was pleading on her behalf. Yun Chujio was about to go out to take a look when she heard Chu Shanshan screaming again and again, followed by the sound of a heavy object landing on the ground. Yun Chujio leaned against the crack of the door and looked. She saw Chu Shanshan lying under a tree hundreds of feet away. It seemed that she had fallen unconscious. Chu Shanshan's followers were screaming and shouting to save her. Yun Chujio turned her head. She heard Di Baiming say coldly, "If I wasn't afraid of trouble, I would have taken her dog life." "Where did she live?" "They'll kill her at night. Those people following me aren't good either. They'll kill them for you." Yun Chujio was already immune to the killing intent of a certain deity. She said disdainfully, "She's just a little grasshopper. She probably found a formation plate that forbids the use of talismans, so she came to challenge me. Even if I don't use talismans, I can still kill her." Di Baiming saw Yun Chujio's delicate appearance and immediately put the matter of killing people to the back of his mind. He hugged a certain Jiao and kissed her. Chu Shanshan, who was unlucky outside, got up and rushed out of the courtyard again. Before she could open her mouth to curse, she flew out again. This time, it was coincidentally the roof of the big kitchen. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. In the big kitchen, everyone was chatting as they worked. Naturally, the focus of their discussion could not be separated from a certain Jiao who had been playing tricks recently. Everyone was rejoicing. Fortunately, they had stopped in time and did not provoke Yun Chujio. Otherwise, this fellow would even dare to blow up his self-reflection hole. If they provoked her, they might even blow up the big kitchen. Just as everyone was talking, they heard a bang. A person fell from the roof and coincidentally fell onto the stove. Coincidentally, there was half a pot of hot porridge in the pot. A certain someone finally quietly and smoothly got what he wanted. He kissed his little wife until she was in a mess. The sky and earth were dark. A certain someone looked at his little wife's confused expression and felt very pleased. It seemed that little Jiao was completely convinced by his charm. Then he heard his wife say, "Prince Charming, you can play by yourself for a while. I'll go and take a look at that little bitch's sorry state." Yun Chujio did not wait for Di Baiming to speak after she finished speaking. She pushed open the courtyard door and ran towards the big kitchen. A certain someone was stunned on the spot. Her lonely figure was even more lonely than that half-dead tree. Where was the sweetness and sweetness that they had agreed upon? What happened to the intimacy? Yun Chujio saw a hole in the roof of the big kitchen from afar. Amidst the chaotic sounds, Chu Shanshan's shrill scream was especially pleasant to the ears. Yun Chujio stood at the entrance of the big kitchen and looked inside. She saw Chu Shanshan's hair and body covered in hot porridge. Her face was also full of blisters. She looked as embarrassed as she could be. "Hey, what's going on? Chu Shanshan, didn't you want me to go on the competition stage? Why did you come to the kitchen to have porridge?" Yun Chujio hugged her shoulders and smiled proudly. "Bitch. I'm going to kill you." Chu Shanshan rushed at Yun Chujio like she was crazy. She felt that all of this was caused by Yun Chujio. She had to kill this bitch today. Yun Chujio naturally would not just stand there and wait to be beaten. With a light leap, she jumped out of the kitchen and threw a large oil paper bag of chili noodles at Chu Shanshan. Chu Shanshan did not know that Yun Chujio would be so wicked. She was in a hurry to kill Yun Chujio, so she smashed the oil paper bag into pieces. Boom! The chili noodles in the oil paper bag blew on Chu Shanshan's face. Her face was already covered in blisters, but now that the chili noodles were on it, the sour feeling was indescribable. Yun Chujio, bitch! Chu Shanshan was in pain and anger. She rolled her eyes and actually fainted with a choking sound. Yun Chujio touched her nose and said to the crowd, "Did you all see that? I didn't do anything. Her physical fitness is too poor." She actually fainted after running a few steps. She really lacks exercise. The crowd was speechless. Could you be any more shameless? You didn't do anything. What else do you want to do by sprinkling chili noodles on her wound? Chu Shanshan's lackeys saw her sorry state and forcefully endured the discomfort to wake her up. "Bitch, just you wait. I'm not done with you." After Chu Shanshan finished her harsh words, the lackeys helped her out of the kitchen. Yun Chujio shrugged her shoulders and said it as if she didn't do it today, she would be able to forget her past with a smile. Pretentious. Yun Chujio turned around and took a few steps forward. The people in the kitchen subconsciously took a few steps back. Fatty Wong said with a trembling voice, "Yun, junior sister Yun, what are you doing? Why are you so nervous?" "I'm just looking for something to eat," Yun Chujio said speechlessly. When Fatty Wong heard Yun Chujio's words, it was as if he had been injected with stimulants. He shouted loudly, "Don't just stand there. Didn't you hear junior sister Yun say that she wants to find something to eat? Hurry up and cook your specialty dishes for junior sister Yun. That someone, hurry up and make the noodles. That old Xia, hurry up and make the soup." After hearing Fatty Wong's words, the people in the big kitchen immediately became excited. They didn't care about the big hole in their heads that leaked air and started to get busy. Yun Chujio, this fellow was very proud in his heart. Such treatment, even old man Xia Ho wouldn't have it, right? "After you're done, send it to my courtyard. I'll go back first," Yun Chujio said to Fatty Wong. Fatty Wong wiped the cold sweat off his head, nodded and bowed. "Junior sister Yun, don't worry. When they're done, I'll get someone to send them to you. There's also a new batch of fruits in the kitchen. I'll send them to you as well." Yun Chujio nodded. "Fatty Wong, you've been improving very quickly recently. You'll definitely have a great development in the future. Work hard, I have high hopes for you." Fatty Wong thought to himself, he didn't know if there would be a great development. He only had one dream now, and that was when the 3 months were up, this great aunt should get lost quickly. It would be best if she didn't come back in the future. Yun Chujio returned to the dormitory with satisfaction. Seeing that Di Baiming wasn't in the courtyard, she pushed open the door and walked in. She saw Di Baiming reading a book. "Idol, you didn't see it. Chu Shanshan fell into the porridge pot, and then I showed her a face full of spicy noodles. This is terrible." "Ha." Di Baiming did not speak. "Idol, I asked the kitchen to cook some food. We can keep it for lunch." Di Baiming was still reading and did not speak. "Idol, did you hear what I said?" Di Baiming did not even raise his head, let alone talk to her. "Ahem, Idol, what I want to say is that your book is upside down." Di Baiming subconsciously changed the direction of the book and realized that he had been tricked. "Now it was upside down, okay?" Di Baiming snorted and threw the book on the desk. He said to Yun Chujio, "Get out. I want to be alone." "Prince Charming, are you angry? What did I do to make you unhappy?" A certain Gio asked timidly. "Get out. I don't want to talk to you." Di Baiming thought of the desolate scene just now and felt his heart suffocate. He actually left him alone in the yard just to look at an ugly monster. The black thing was increasingly disregarding him. Yun Chujio saw that she had admitted defeat and Di Baiming was still acting tough. Her temper flared up, she pointed at Di Baiming's nose and shouted, "You don't want to talk to me? I don't want to talk to you. Look at you now, you're acting like you're so arrogant. Why are you so arrogant? No matter how powerful you are, aren't you still the same nose and two eyes? You scolded me and asked me to write a self-reflection letter. What did I say? Do you think I'm really afraid of you? I'm just giving in to you. Giving in, do you know what that means? I'm treating you like an insensible child. Get lost. Do you think I want to see your constipated face? I won't serve you anymore. You're just a shameless, arrogant fool. If I return it, it'll be your grandson. After Yun Chujio said that, she slammed the door and went out. Yun Chujio left the courtyard in a huff. Damn it, I've had enough. They were all men trying to make their girlfriends happy, but she had to coax that arrogant fool who was always insulting the heavens and the earth. She would lose her face every few days and serve whoever she wanted. Anyway, she wouldn't serve anyone anymore. This fellow walked for a while in a huff before he remembered. Damn it, that was my courtyard. If he wanted to leave, he should have told the gigolo to leave. He was really mad. However, since he had come out, there was no reason for him to go back. It was also good to find someone to vent his anger on. He should go and cheat. Therefore, this fellow went to the big kitchen with a gloomy face. Fatty Wong quickly went up to her and asked, Junior Sister Yun, why are you back? But this big kitchen is your territory. Can I come? Fatty Wong almost vomited blood. He could only say embarrassedly, I can come, I can come. You can come as you please. Yun Chujio walked to the side of her personal stove and sat on the small horse. She stared at the crowd with a gloomy face. The atmosphere in the big kitchen suddenly dropped to the freezing point. Everyone was careful, afraid to provoke this female fiend. The saddest one was the handyman who cut the vegetables. He didn't dare to make too much noise, so he could only cut the vegetables gently bit by bit. It was simply too torturous. After 2 hours of hard work, all the dishes were ready. Yun Chujio put the dishes into her storage ring and then left the big kitchen. When the people in the big kitchen saw that the bad guy had finally left, they felt as if they had survived a disaster. Damn, the atmosphere in the room just now was suffocating, okay? It was really strange. She was clearly a little girl at the 6th layer of the spiritual mystery realm. Why did it make people feel scared from the bottom of their hearts? Yun Chujio walked out of the big kitchen and was at a loss. Where was she going? She had already made a promise to Lung Kuei that she would not run around anymore. If she were to go wandering around, would that count as not keeping her word? This guy thought for a moment. Behind the big kitchen was the back mountain of Jinfeng, so there should not be any trouble there. Therefore, this guy went to the back mountain of Jinfeng with a gloomy face and casually broke a branch. Then he found a big rock and sat down. He took the branch and whipped it hard on the ground. You little gigolo! I'll whip you. I'll whip you to death. Arrogant. Shameless. Do you think I care about you? Narcissist. How could that fragile little branch withstand this guy's whipping? It broke after a few whips. This guy was so angry that he threw the remaining half of his hand away. What kind of lousy thing is this? Even you are bullying me. Squeak squeak. The twig that Yun Chujio casually threw had hit some demon beast. Only a miserable cry could be heard. Yun Chujio turned her head and saw a gray shadow running into the depths of the forest. This fellow was feeling extremely bored and quickly got up to chase after it. The demon beasts that lived in the back mountain were mostly low-level demon beasts. Therefore, Yun Chujio did not spend much effort to chase after it. It turned out to be a long-eared windblade rabbit. When the long-eared windblade rabbit saw Yun Chujio chasing after it, it ran as fast as it could and went into a cave, disappearing without a trace. Yun Chujio suddenly felt dispirited. So it was such a small thing. She was tired of eating rabbit meat. Forget it, she could spare it with kindness. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio was about to turn around and leave. Suddenly, she narrowed her eyes and took a few steps forward. There seemed to be something wrong with this rabbit hole. A normal rabbit hole was only the size of a rabbit's body. This was to prevent predators from entering. However, this rabbit hole was a little too big. No matter how she looked at it, it did not look like a rabbit hole. Yun Chujio curiously walked to the side of the cave and observed it. The wild grass around the cave did not look different from the wild grass beside it, which meant that the cave should have existed a long time ago. Could it be that this cave was dug by another large-scale demon beast and then occupied by this long-eared windblade rabbit? Yun Chujio felt that this explanation was still reasonable, so she stood up and prepared to leave. At this moment, she heard the long-eared windblade rabbit's miserable cry from the depths of the cave. It was so shrill, as if it had encountered something terrible. Yun Chujio could not help but laugh. Since you had burrowed into the other person's cave, you naturally took the initiative to deliver yourself to the other person as a snack. What's the use of shouting now? Yun Chujio took a few steps forward. After thinking for a while, she turned back and muttered, "Forget it, I'll show mercy once. I hope it's not too late." The reason why this guy was so kind was because he felt that she was like this rabbit. He clearly knew that the pretty boy was an arrogant maniac, but he still wanted to get close to her. Wasn't he just looking for trouble? It could only be said that it was easy for people who had fallen out of love to connect the dots. They could even connect the dots when they saw a rabbit. This guy took a few steps back. He faced the entrance of the cave and shot out several bolts of lightning. He shouted, "Hey! Listen to me, the demonic beast inside. That rabbit is my pet. If you dare to eat it, I'll roast you." It was unknown whether it was because the soil in the back mountain was too loose or Yun Chujio's lightning was too powerful. After a few bolts of lightning from this fellow, a large area around the cave collapsed. Curious Joe also fell down miserably. That poor long-eared windblade rabbit was currently being swallowed by a bloodthirsty giant python. Only a pair of long rabbit ears were still exposed. Yun Chujio shot several bolts of lightning at the 7 inches of the giant bloodthirsty python. Even though this fellow was a weakling in front of Master Xiaoho and the others, in front of these low-level demon beasts, he was simply a formidable fiend. The giant bloodthirsty python was only a level 20 demon beast. How could it withstand her attack? Its body was in pain. It opened its mouth and spat out the poor long-eared windblade rabbit. Yun Chujio did not stop until the giant bloodthirsty python was dead. Although the miserable long-eared windblade rabbit did not die, it was timid to begin with. Now it was so scared that it was trembling. "Alright, I won't kill you. Run for your life." When the long-eared windblade rabbit heard Yun Chujio's words, it stood up and ran into the depths of the cave in a panic. Yun Chujio was so angry that she laughed. "This is really a stupid rabbit. Why don't you run out of the cave instead?" Yun Chujio was also bored and followed the rabbit into the cave. The long-eared windblade rabbit was also scared out of its mind. When it saw that Yun Chujio had actually followed it, it used its 4 claws to dig at the wall of the cave desperately. It was obvious that it was planning to dig a hole to escape. Yun Chujio hugged her shoulders and watched from the side. How could there be such a stupid rabbit? This fellow was also quite wicked. It took out a small pony from its storage ring and sat on it to watch the rabbit dig a hole. The long-eared windblade rabbit felt that it was really unlucky. It was perfectly fine eating grass, but it was smashed by this fiend's branch. "Let's dig a hole," and we even met a bloodthirsty python. Now, the evil star was still eyeing it from the side. What was she going to do? The long-eared windblade rabbit did not believe that Yun Chujio would not kill it. If she did not want to kill it, why did she not leave? Why was she staring at it? She must have planned to wait until it was exhausted from digging the hole before eating it. Bad silver. Just as the long-eared windblade rabbit was trying its best to dig a hole, it heard that evil star casually say, "Tigisuke, your digging skills are really not that good. I heard that a crafty rabbit has 3 burrows. With a weakling like you, it would probably take you a lifetime to dig 3 burrows, right?" The long-eared windblade rabbit felt that it had received 10,000 points of damage, but it did not dare to go against Yun Chujio. It could only desperately dig, plop. Yun Chujio only heard a plop, and then there was no more movement. She stood up in surprise and was momentarily dumbfounded. What was going on? Could there be a hole behind this hole? Yun Chujio threw a sudden crack talisman into the tunnel that the long-eared windblade rabbit had dug earlier. After the explosion, Yun Chujio found that the inside was actually hollow, with the faint sound of running water. Yun Chujio immediately understood. There should be an underground river down there. The unlucky long-eared windblade rabbit must have fallen into the underground river, which was why there was a splash. Yun Chujio took out the luminous pearl and shone it on it. Sure enough, there was an underground river down there, but the flow was very slow, so the sound of the water was not loud. The unlucky long-eared windblade rabbit had climbed up the rock by the side of the underground river, with a look of despair on its face. Yun Chujio sat on the chopping board and flew down. The long-eared windblade rabbit did not move at all. It had already accepted its fate. If it was willing to eat it, then it would eat it. Yun Chujio walked to the side of the dark river and looked around. She did not know where this dark river flowed from. If it was discovered, it would definitely be a hidden danger to the origin-killing sect. Because if someone sneaked into the origin-killing sect from the dark river, no one would discover it. It would be completely undetectable. Yun Chujio thought of this and decided to explore along the underground river. Anyway, she did not want to go back and face Di Biming's ugly face now. She might as well swim. Rabbit, I want to go down and swim. Come with me? Yun Chujio said while holding the long ears of the long-eared windblade rabbit. The long-eared windblade rabbit rolled its eyelids and fainted from anger. It was a rabbit, not a fish, okay? Swim my ass. Yun Chujio could not help but laugh. She put the rabbit into her spirit beast bag and jumped into the dark river. The dark river was deeper than she had imagined. She swam down the river and swam for 2 hours before she realized that there was light coming in. It seemed like she was going out. However, when she swam to a place where there was light, she could not help but be a little surprised. In front of her was a stone wall. There were some cracks on the stone wall, and the water in the dark river flowed out through the cracks. Only then did this fellow understand why the flow of water was so slow and why the water from the underground river was so deep. It was because the exit was too narrow, which was why it was like this. However, this was also good. This way, people with ulterior motives would not be able to use it to sneak into the origin-killing sect. However, this was still not too safe. When there was an opportunity, she would explore what exactly this place was. Thinking of this, he swam back to the place where he fell. After thinking for a while, he felt that it was still early, so he swam up again to see where the other end of the underground river led to. Therefore, he started swimming again. After swimming for 4 hours, she saw a light shining in. To her surprise, the source was only a few narrow stone cracks, and the water was slowly seeping down. Yun Chujio touched her chin. She guessed that there was either a spring or a stream. Since there was not much water seeping down, no one would notice it. As for the water seeping down, it had formed an underground river after many years. It was not formed overnight. It should have been thousands of years or even tens of thousands of years. Yun Chujio felt that her journey of searching for secrets had come to an end for the time being. When she had the chance, she would investigate the place up there again. Otherwise, if she were to go out so rashly, she would probably be disliked again. Just as this fellow was about to leave, he vaguely heard someone speak again. Senior brother, I heard that Yun Chujio has asked to be grounded. I reckon that our Shi Yuan sect will be quiet for a few days. Fortunately, she didn't come up to our water mountain. Otherwise, our treasures might have suffered. Isn't that so? I heard that Yun Chujio is a foodie. If she knew that our water mountain's lotus pond has the extremely delicious green jade lotus root, she would definitely come and harm us. That's right. However, we can't let our guard down. We must constantly keep an eye on the movements of that scourge so that we won't be caught off guard. A certain Gio's eyes instantly lit up. Green jade lotus root? My goodness, isn't this the only type of lotus root in the world that doesn't grow in the mud? I heard that the taste of that lotus root when eaten raw is even sweeter than a spirit fruit. If it was stewed in soup, it would be so fresh that it would make one swallow their tongue. Now, the question was, would she go along with it or not? Entering the treasure mountain empty-handed was clearly not this fellow's character. Therefore, this fellow did not have any mental struggles. After the two disciples left, she took out her large kitchen knife and started to chop. After all, she could just use something to block it. Moreover, she was also a member of the murderous Yuan sect. It was not a big deal to eat a few lotus roots, right? Yes, that was it. It really was nothing. This fellow had always been willful. Moreover, she did not have any absolute concept of right and wrong. Therefore, it was impossible to rely on her three views of the world. After she cut a gap, she leaned out to take a look. Immediately, she grinned. A pool full of green jade lotus roots and snow-white lotus roots seemed to be waving at her. TSK, this kind of green jade lotus root was still the best. It looked clean and tender. It was simply too tempting, wasn't it? This fellow was afraid that the long night would bring more trouble, so she specially picked the largest green jade lotus root and stuffed it into her storage ring. This fellow was listless and evil. She only took the lotus root away, but the lotus leaves on it did not move at all. Therefore, it was estimated that no one would notice it in a short while. This fellow felt that it was almost done, so she went back into the underground river. After mending the gap, she swam back in satisfaction. This fellow was afraid that someone would notice it, so she climbed up and covered the cave tightly. Anyway, there were a lot of big rocks in her storage ring. After filling it up, she covered it with soil. She even sprinkled some grass seeds on it and used some diluted guai chow juice to accelerate the growth. Soon, there was no difference between it and other places. It was perfect. Only then did Yun Chujio release the sad long-eared windblade rabbit. The long-eared windblade rabbit looked around with a confused face. Who was it? Where was it? This was clearly a cave before. Why did it turn into a grassland now? Yun Chujio threw a few hemostatic pills to it. Here, this is your compensation. Don't go into a hole just because you see it, idiot. After saying that, Yun Chujio hopped away from the back of the mountain. This fellow's heartbreak had already been cured by the green jade lotus. Since he had nowhere else to go, he would just go back to his dormitory. As for the vicious words that he had let go of earlier, who hadn't said a few angry words before? Could he really take it seriously? Moreover, that was my courtyard. Why should the pretty boy occupy it? This fellow walked valiantly towards the dormitory. Unfortunately, when he was a few hundred feet away from the courtyard, he chickened out. She had scolded the gigolo in the morning. If she were to go back now, would she be subjected to some domestic violence? However, the sky was getting darker and darker. There was no place to go if she didn't go back. Hence, this fellow rubbed his way to the entrance of the courtyard. He pushed the door open and peeked inside. When this fellow saw that Di Biming was not in the courtyard, he heaved a sigh of relief. He pushed the door open and sneaked into the courtyard. This fellow had been mentally preparing himself for a long time. He was scolding himself, but look at your cowardly appearance. What was there to be afraid of? Didn't he just scold him a little? How could he eat you up? Besides, what he scolded was reasonable. What was there to be afraid of? Even so, this guy still couldn't move his legs. He turned his eyes and took out a wine gourd from his storage ring. The wine strengthened the courage of a hero. He was going all out. This guy drank 2 mouthfuls and didn't feel anything. He gulped down a few mouthfuls before putting away the wine gourd. Why did it feel like the world was spinning? Damn it, I drank too much. Although this guy tried his best to stay calm, the alcohol quickly came back to him. Instantly, Coward 9 became Hero 9. Hero 9 walked to the door and kicked it open. Di Biming was sitting on the chair and looking at her coldly. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a beauty before? Gigolo, you don't have good intentions. Get out of my way and don't bother me. Damn, it felt so good to say whatever he wanted. Di Biming already knew that Yun Chujio was back. Now that he saw how drunk she was, he was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Didn't you say that if you came back, you would be my grandson? Why did you come back? Grandpa pretty boy, I'm back. Go get me some foot washing water. A certain Geo collapsed on the chair and pointed at Di Biming with a smile. Di Biming, only this black thing in front of him was able to describe his grandson as an ancestor. Didn't I tell you that you're not allowed to drink? Have you forgotten? Di Biming slammed the table and shouted coldly. Of course I haven't forgotten, but why should I listen to you? I'm drinking now, what can you do to me? Let me tell you, Gigolo, don't think that I'm afraid of you, I'm not afraid of you. This guy was even addicted to calling himself a grandson. Isn't that just giving in? Didn't you say that I'm an insensible child, so you gave in to me? A trace of hurt flashed in Di Biming's eyes. He didn't expect that the black thing was just giving in to him. Wrong. You bastard. That's not giving in, that's love. Love, do you understand? If someone else was shouting in front of me, fuck, I would have killed him long ago. Yun Chujio pointed at Di Biming, she shouted loudly. Di Biming was stunned. So it wasn't giving in, it was love? You gigolo, today your grandson will teach you what love is. What is love? Love is tolerance, love is tolerance. You clearly can't stand your arrogant attitude, but your grandson still wants to be with you. Do you know why? Because I love you, I love everything about you, including your shortcomings, including your shamelessness. Sob, I'm so wronged. I've already treated you like this, yet you still scold me and always give me face. You bastard. A certain Geo was originally speaking righteously, but in the blink of an eye, she was crying like a baby. Di Biming did not comfort Yun Chujio. Instead, he stood there in a daze. He recalled the scenes of the two of them getting along. It seemed that little Geo had been tolerating him. He doted on little Geo more than he was tolerating her. When Di Biming regained his senses, Yun Chujio was already sleeping on the table. There were still tears in the corner of her eyes. Di Biming felt both guilty and sad. He picked Yun Chujio up and placed her on the bed. He used a towel to gently wipe a certain Gio's crying face. Di Biming slept with his clothes on. To be more precise, he did not feel sleepy lying down. As the seal was broken bit by bit, many familiar and unfamiliar memories flooded into his mind. It was a huge impact on him. In addition to the fact that he was facing a powerful enemy, it had been a long time since he had properly examined his relationship with little Gio. He felt that he loved her and she loved him, and that was enough. However, tonight he finally knew how wronged little Gio felt. Perhaps it wasn't because of the effects of the alcohol, but she would never say these words. At most, she would just lash out and scold him like she did during the day. Di Biming's eyes were a little red. Before he reincarnated, he was alone. He had no family, no friends, and no lover. Even in this life, he didn't fit in with the people around him. His heart was like a stone, as if it was wrapped in 10,000 years of ice. No one had ever entered his heart. He didn't expect that, by a fluke of fate, he didn't know when he started to have such a concern in his heart. He had someone who wanted to protect him forever. However, he was just like little Gio had said, he did not know how to express his love. He felt that giving her something to help her solve her problems, and that he could disregard his life and death for her, this was love. He was wrong. Other than these things, love also had tolerance, and it was not like one of them was bossy and willful. The next morning, a certain Gio opened her eyes and found herself lying on the bed. Under her head was Di Biming's arm. This fellow had drunk a little too much last night, and he had blacked out. Therefore, she did not remember what she said or did. She was afraid that Di Biming would look for her to settle the score, so she smiled ingratiatingly. Hi, Prince Charming, good morning. Well, I'll prepare some face-washing water for you now. This guy was about to get off the bed when Di Biming pulled out his arm and said gently, You lie down. I'll prepare some face-washing water and breakfast for you. I'll call you when it's done. Yun Chujio pinched herself secretly. Damn, it really hurts. It seemed like he wasn't dreaming. Was the pretty boy possessed by a ghost? He looked at Di Biming in a daze. As expected, Di Biming got up and left the bedroom. He didn't even put on his shoes and looked out through the crack in the bedroom door. Di Biming didn't have hot water in his storage ring, so he used his spiritual power to heat up the water. Then, he placed breakfast on the table and said to the bedroom with an unprecedented gentleness, "Little Gio, come out and wash up." Yun Chujio shivered. Damn it, it's over. It's over. The pretty boy must have become mentally ill after being scolded by her yesterday. The guy pushed the door open. With a sobbing voice, he said, "Prince Charming, the things I scolded you yesterday were all angry words. Don't take it to heart. If you have any discomfort in your heart, hurry up and say it. You can just scold me a few times. Don't be like this. I'm scared. I keep feeling like you've been possessed by a ghost." Beiming, was it difficult to be a virtuous and virtuous boyfriend? He really wanted to turn back into a wild and arrogant man who hated the heavens and the earth. What was wrong with him? When Beiming saw Yun Chujio standing on the ground barefooted, he quickly carried her by the waist. Just as he was about to yell at her, he thought of tolerance and tolerance. He softened his tone and said, "Little Gio, why aren't you wearing your shoes when you're on the ground? What if you catch a cold?" As Beiming spoke, he placed Yun Chujio on the chair. Then, he went to the bedroom and took out Yun Chujio's boots. He gently helped Yun Chujio put them on her feet. Yun Chujio suddenly thought of a lot of scary things. For example, people who had suffered a blow and had a split personality. People who had suffered a severe blow would have a drastic change in personality. In short, she felt that Beiming was too abnormal. That, my Prince Charming, did I say something that I shouldn't have said last night? Beiming shook his head. No, you might have drunk too much and fell asleep when you entered the room. Yun Chujio touched her nose. Really? If I said something that I shouldn't have said. Just treat it as if I'm talking nonsense. Don't take it to heart. Yes, I know. Come, wipe your face. Beiming said as he wet the towel and gently helped Yun Chujio wipe her face. Yun Chujio felt uncomfortable all over. Damn, there was definitely something wrong. How did he change from a cocky man who hated the heavens to a virtuous and warm man overnight? This was nothing. During the meal, Beiming served her wholeheartedly. He was just short of feeding her with a spoon. Yun Chujio was on tenterhooks during the meal. It was not easy to finish the meal, but Beiming quickly cleaned up the table. Little Gio, the weather today is not bad. Let's go outside and play chess while we bask in the sun. Beiming said gently. Yun Chujio nodded stiffly. She did not know whether to move her left or right leg first. In the end, it was Beiming who carried her into the courtyard. When playing chess, it was even weirder. Beiming lost every time except for losing. He even praised her stiffly from time to time. Little Gio, you're really amazing. Little Gio, you're really smart. Little Gio, your chess skills are really superb. Yun Chujio couldn't take it anymore. She slammed the stone table and said, "Pretty boy, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" Beiming suppressed the scolding that almost came out of his mouth. He squeezed out a smile and said, "Little Gio, I feel that I didn't treat you well in the past, so I've decided to correct myself in the future." Yun Chujio was stunned. Was this the reason? Oh my God. Prince Charming, you should have told me earlier. So you have found your conscience. This scared me. I thought that you were possessed by a ghost. Well, since you want to change, go and wash this green jade lotus root for me. Then cut it into slices. Don't cut it too thick or too thin. Do you hear me? Beiming silently recited tolerance and tolerance 3 times in his heart before he did not fly into a rage. However, when he saw the green jade lotus root on the table, he could not help but ask in surprise, "I heard that this green jade lotus root is very rare. Where did you get it?" Yun Chujio crossed her legs. She said proudly, "Yesterday, I was not in a good mood because of a breakup, so I went to the back of the mountain to relax. Then I met a rabbit. How was it? My luck is not bad, right? Hee hee, it will probably take a few days for those idiots from Water Mountain to realize that more than half of the lotus root is missing." Ha! Beiming subconsciously wanted to scold her for messing around, but when he thought of tolerance and tolerance, he squeezed out 3 words from between his teeth. Not bad. After Di Baiming had cut the green jade lotus root, he placed it on the stone table. Yun Chujio picked up a slice. She said in a picky manner, "It's a little thick, but it's okay. You just need to practice more in the future. It's not that I'm criticizing you, but you're quite a big man. You can't even cut the lotus root well." Sigh, it's really hard to explain. Di Baiming gritted his teeth and endured. Yun Chujio put the lotus root slices into her mouth and her eyes immediately lit up. Damn, the taste was really superb. No wonder Water Mountain treated it as a treasure. Yun Chujio regretted it in her heart. If she had known earlier, she would have gotten all the rest. It was really a miscalculation. She could have stolen it again, but it was too troublesome and the risk was too great. If she was caught, it would not be worth it. This guy ate half a plate of lotus root slices. When he saw Di Baiming sitting opposite him, he blinked his eyes. "Prince Charming, why are you sitting there?" Di Baiming subconsciously thought that Yun Chujio wanted him to eat the lotus root slices. Just as he was about to say that he did not want to eat it, he heard Yun Chujio continue, "Come here. Massage my shoulders. My shoulders are sore from swimming yesterday. This is all your fault. If you did not anger me, would I have gone to the back of the mountain? If I did not go to the back of the mountain, would I have been able to swim? Therefore, my sore shoulders are all your fault." Di Baiming silently recited tolerance and tolerance 3 times in his heart before he stopped himself from losing his temper. Di Baiming stood up and helped Yun Chujio massage her shoulders. This fellow groaned comfortably a few times before he started to find fault. "Did you eat your breakfast for nothing? Can you increase your strength? Are you full? Be gentle." Di Baiming repeatedly prayed for tolerance and tolerance in his heart. Only then did he resist the urge to slap her away. In short, a certain Jiao had been torturing Di Baiming in different ways throughout the day. Di Baiming was almost torn apart. At night, a certain Jiao lay on the bed and said slyly, "Walk around the house for me. I want to admire and admire it." Di Baiming immediately decided to go to hell with tolerance and tolerance. He couldn't give her face just like that. Di Baiming's face was gloomy as he said, "Little Jiao, I've tolerated you for a day. Although we should be tolerant and tolerant between lovers, you shouldn't go too far. You're being evil." A certain Jiao was dumbfounded. It was over. She was showing off. Extreme joy gave birth to sorrow. She regretted it. That male god. "I was joking with you." A certain Jiao, who was already furious to the point of no return, suddenly, a nosebleed came out. A certain Jiao was shocked and quickly took a handkerchief to wipe Di Baiming. Then she said fiercely, "Male god, it's all that damn Go Weiba fault." A certain Jiao's face turned red and she said angrily, "What nonsense are you talking about? This venerable self just recently ate a great tonic, so that's why my nose is bleeding." Yun Chujio pursed her lips. Why? She didn't believe it. With such an interlude, the relationship between the two of them finally returned to normal. Yes, that was the tone of lackey little Jiao and the arrogant certain Jiao. Of course, a certain Jiao was so regretful that her intestines were turning green. If she had known this would happen, she would have taken it easy and acted like a demon no matter what. Sigh, she was usually quite smart, but why did she go astray when it came to gigolo matters? A certain Jiao had caused a certain Jiao to become a demon herself, causing a certain Jiao to be enlightened. What tolerance? What tolerance? To hell with all that. She could not give Yun Chujio too much face when she was such a snobbish person. Hence, a certain Jiao once again became a lackey. The regret in her heart was like a torrential river. She weakly asked Di Baiming, "Prince Charming, about that, can you forget everything that happened today and let's start all over again? I will definitely not be a demon this time. Let me enjoy the feeling of being served again." Di Baiming, could it be said that he wanted to get as far away as possible? The next night, Di Baiming left the origin killing sect. Of course, before he left, he had to give some instructions. A certain Jiao could already memorize the 8-character mantra. Cultivate properly and don't cause trouble. Seriously, how could such an obedient and good child like her cause trouble? After D. Biming left, a certain Geo stayed quiet for a few days. It was not that this fellow kept his promise, but she was afraid that Water Mountain would suspect her when they found out that the green jade lotus root was lost. On this day, Yun Chujio woke up naturally and wandered into the kitchen. As soon as she entered the kitchen, she heard the servants discussing, "Did you hear? Something big happened. More than half of the green jade lotus root from Water Mountain was lost. I heard that Water Mountain's peak master Mo is going crazy with anger." "Is that true? Isn't the green jade root being guarded by someone? Furthermore, there are layers of formations around it. How could anyone steal it?" "Who says so? I heard that there aren't any signs of the formations being broken. Furthermore, the disciples on patrol insisted that nothing abnormal had happened." "What a ghost!" A certain Geo was secretly happy. That ghost was her. How could she catch her? This guy was so shameless that he even went up to those people and asked them all kinds of questions, looking like he was gossiping. Everyone exchanged a look. Fortunately, this troublemaker had been grounded in their own courtyard recently, or else she might have done it. At this moment, Master Xiaoho and the others were standing beside the lotus pond on the Water Mountain, frowning. Recently, for some unknown reason, an unbelievable thing happened every now and then. How did this green jade lotus suddenly disappear? Mountain Master Ren of the Wood Peak said, "Could it be Yun Chujio again?" Master Xiaoho shook his head. "When I heard the news, I thought it was her. But after investigation, that little girl has been staying in the dormitory these days and hasn't been to the Water Mountain. So, this matter should have nothing to do with her." Water Mountain's Mountain Master Emo nodded his head. "That's right, I've asked the disciples in the clan. Yun Chujio hasn't been to Water Mountain these days, so she didn't do it." Fire Mountain's Mountain Master Zhao couldn't help but laugh. "You guys are too paranoid. Although that little girl likes to cause trouble, this lotus pond has layers of protection and an array. Even if she really went to Water Mountain, she wouldn't be able to steal it. Let's find another reason." Everyone thought about it. They had been traumatized by that little girl. The green jade lotus had nothing to do with her. And what they didn't know was that a certain Geo, who had nothing to do with the green jade lotus, had already returned to her dorm and was nibbling on a green jade lotus root. Water Mountain had investigated for half a month, but they still couldn't find any clues. Thus, the green jade lotus root incident became a big unsolved case in the murderous Yuan sect. Yun Chujio felt that the limelight had passed, so she started to show up again. The first place Yun Chujio wanted to go was actually the Water Mountain. This guy was really interesting. She just wanted to hear how the people were talking about the lotus root thief. When the disciples of the Water Mountain saw that Yun Chujio had come, many of them originally planned to stay far away from her to avoid being implicated by this jinx. However, this guy was really sweet-tongued. Very soon, he got close to a few disciples. The few disciples took a look. This Yun Chujio was not as mysterious as the rumors said. She was just a little girl. Moreover, she was quite good at talking. It seemed that she was spreading rumors. Thus, under Yun Chujio's intentional or unintentional guidance, everyone began to talk about the green jade lotus. "Junior sister Yun, you don't know. You also don't know how that wicked thief succeeded. He actually stole more than half of the green jade lotus. Our sect leader is furious. There are no signs of damage to the surrounding array formation, and no outsiders have entered the Water Mountain. What the hell?" Yes, ever since this incident happened, our Water Mountain's shrimp pond has increased in manpower, afraid that the wicked thief will try to get his hands on the green jade prawns again. A certain lotus root thief had a thought. "Io, there are green jade prawns in the Water Mountain?" He had been eating lotus roots for the past few days, so it was not bad to change his taste. Thus, this fellow asked curiously, "Green jade prawns? Our Water Mountain still has green jade prawns. Didn't they say that those things are very precious and very difficult to raise?" One of the disciples said proudly, "Junior sister Yun, I don't mean to brag, but only our Water Mountain has green jade lotus roots and green jade prawns in the immortal Yuan continent. Do you know why?" Yun Chujio shook her head. "Why?" Because green jade lotus roots and green jade prawns have very high requirements for living environment, especially for water. And our water mountain has a divine immortal spring. The spring water from the divine immortal spring is just right for the survival of green jade lotus roots and green jade prawns. The disciple said proudly he had no idea that he was trying to kill the water mountain. Senior brother, the immortal spring is so awesome. Why doesn't our water mountain raise more green jade lotus roots and green jade prawns? Isn't this a waste of resources? Yun Chujio asked in confusion. The disciple sighed. Junior sister Yun, you only know one thing and you don't know the other. Although the immortal spring is good, it can only spurt out a small amount of water every day. So even if you want to expand the scale, it's impossible. Yun Chujio's little heart beat violently. Oh my, only a little spring water can spurt out every day? Does that mean that the underground river that she found could be used to make a big deal out of it? Maybe she could make a fortune. This fellow suddenly had a good idea to make a fortune. It was fine if the green jade lotus root needed sunlight, but the green jade prawns were said to like the dark environment. If she could get a few pairs of green jade prawns with both males and females and put them into the underground river, wouldn't she make a fortune then? This fellow had also quietly obtained the green jade prawns. The shrimp pond that was used to breed the green jade prawns was right beside the lotus pond, so this fellow decided to find an opportunity to steal the prawns. After another half a month, this fellow felt that the wind was not so tight anymore. On a dark and windy night for a month, this fellow ran to the mountain behind Jin Feng and instructed Xiao He to start digging holes. The long-eared windblade rabbit also came over to help. Yun Chujio told the rabbit to cover the ground with mud after they went down. The rabbit saw the pill that Yun Chujio threw at it and immediately nodded in agreement. Yun Chujio went into the cave and covered the entrance with a stone slab. There was also the silly rabbit on top to help cover the entrance. As long as someone did not look carefully, it was impossible to find any clues. After Yun Chujio went down to the underground river, she planned to swim to the exit of the underground river to block it. This immortal spring was so precious, she could not waste it for nothing. Just as she was swimming towards the exit, she noticed that the flow of water had suddenly increased. She was shocked. The flow of water had suddenly increased. There was only one reason, and that was that the exit had become bigger. The exit wouldn't have become bigger for no reason. It must have been man-made. Could it be that someone had sneaked in from the exit? Yun Chujio looked around and found a dent in one of the stone walls. She quickly climbed to the shore, took off the spirit-concealing ring on her hand, and carefully held her breath. The dark river was very dark, so Yun Chujio thought that the other party would not notice her. An hour later, Yun Chujio vaguely saw a small boat rowing over. Someone was whispering and chatting. "Ha! The heavens are really helping our divine devil hall. I didn't expect there to be such a dark river under the Killing Origin sect. After we have explored the exit, we will come without anyone knowing. We will definitely destroy the Killing Origin sect in one fell swoop." That's right. After we have destroyed the Killing Origin sect, there is only the Hunyuan sect left. When that time comes, it will be much easier to deal with. If we are to talk about this matter, it is all thanks to Lord Purple Face. That's right. Lord Purple Face only discovered that tiny stream occasionally, and he was able to determine that the stream was not ordinary. That was why he asked us to investigate it carefully. I didn't expect that there would be such an underground river leading to the Killing Origin sect here. Yun Chujio's heart was like a raging river. She did not expect that she was right. This underground river was actually targeted by the Divine Devil Hall. It was a close call. If the Divine Devil Hall really sent a large group of people to attack from here, the Shiyuan sect would most likely die from a pincer attack from both inside and outside. However, she might really be the Divine Devil Hall's nemesis. Every time they did something bad, she would run into them by chance. This was the so-called ill-fated fate. This fellow rolled her eyes and immediately came up with a good idea. Although she had lost such a good opportunity to make a fortune in the Dark River, it was very worth it to inflict a heavy blow on the Divine Devil Hall. Moreover, She could take the opportunity to make old man Xia Ho bleed a little. This fellow was glad in her heart. Fortunately, the cave entrance that she came down from earlier was slanted. Moreover, she had always been careful and had deliberately blocked both ends of the cave entrance. She was not afraid that the people of the Divine Devil Hall would find out about it. Therefore, Yun Chujio waited patiently for almost 4 hours before the small boat appeared again. However, they did not speak this time, so Yun Chujio did not care too much. They would definitely go back and report it before confirming the exact time of the sneak attack. After another 2 hours, Yun Chujio found that the water speed had increased again. She knew that the people should have reached the exit of the underground river. After a while, Yun Chujio finally swam to the exit of the underground river. She felt that the Divine Demon Hall must have already sent people to guard the exit, so she could not go out and alert them. This guy rolled his eyes and asked Mao Suechio to get a few crystal fish from the Great Void Mystic Realm. These fish were not only very small in size, but they were transparent all over. If one was not careful, they would not be discovered at all. After Yun Chujio established a temporary contract with them, she placed them in the water and told them to report anything unusual to her at any time. After Yun Chujio made the necessary arrangements, she opened the hole and climbed up with sticky silk. The silly rabbit had been obediently guarding nearby. Yun Chujio was very satisfied and gave it some spirit fruits. Then, she cleaned up the traces on them and went straight to Master Xiaohu's courtyard. If there was one person who was the least suspicious in the Shiyuan sect, it would be Master Xiahou. Other than him, it was hard to say who was the spy of the Divine Devil Hall. Therefore, Yun Chujio still trusted Master Xiahou more, even though this old man Xiahou was a little stingy. When Master Xiahou heard that Yun Chujio wanted to see him, he subconsciously did not want to see her. This little girl was like a weasel paying a New Year's visit to a chicken. She must have no good intentions. However, when he thought of Yun Chujio's evil intentions, even if he did not want to see her, he would probably think of a way to let him see her. Therefore, he could only bite the bullet and let her in. "Master, I haven't seen you for a few days. You look younger and younger," Yun Chujio said with a smile. Master Xiahou scolded with a smile, "Don't give me that. What are you doing here? Did you get into trouble again?" Yun Chujio looked aggrieved. "Master, I have been quietly thinking in the dormitory these days. I didn't do anything bad. I came here this time because I have something important to report to you." Master Xiahou said indifferently, "Something important? What can you report to me?" Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. "Master, is it safe here? Don't tell me there are spies?" Master Xiahou became more serious when he saw Yun Chujio's serious look. After opening the isolation array, he said, "There are people guarding my courtyard and I have opened the isolation array. Tell me, what is it?" "Well, didn't the green jade lotus root of Water Mountain go missing a few days ago? Actually, it was me who did it," Yun Chujio said weakly. "What the hell? It was really you. I knew it. No one is so wicked except for you." Master Xiahou slammed the table angrily. Yun Chujio giggled. "Look at what you said. Didn't I just eat a few lotus roots out of greed? Do you need to raise it to a personal attack? Wicked is too serious." Master Xiahou really wanted to kill her with a slap. Being immoral was not even enough to describe how bad she was. However, how did she do it? Master Xiahou calmed his emotions and then asked, "The lotus pond on Water Mountain is tightly guarded. You didn't go to Water Mountain. How did you do it?" Yun Chujio immediately straightened her back proudly. "Master, it's a long story. Didn't I put myself in solitary confinement? I was so bored that I went to the back of the mountain and met a rabbit." Yun Chujio told Master Xiahou everything that happened, except for debeiming. She told Master Xiahou everything else. Master Xiahou was stunned. There was an underground river under the murderous origin sect? Moreover, it was the lotus pond that led to the Water Mountain? No wonder the water in the lotus pond didn't rise even though the immortal spring kept spurting out water. It turned out that the water kept seeping down. They thought that the water had been absorbed by the green jade lotus root, so they didn't have any doubts. Before Master Xiahou asked in detail, he heard Yun Chujio continue, "Master, ever since I heard that the people of the Water Mountain were very angry because of the loss of the green jade lotus root, I decided to return the remaining green jade lotus root, so I went to the underground river again today." After Master Xiahou heard Yun Chujio's words, he almost sprayed her face with dew. "You fucking lie. With your behavior, how could you have a conscience to return the lotus roots? Maybe you want to steal the rest." Yun Chujio heard Master Xiaohu's doubts and waved her hand. "Master, you really wronged me. I'm almost tired of eating. Why would I steal these broken lotus roots?" Master Xiahou was so angry that he snorted. Even if he could eat a few green jade lotus roots, it would be a luxury. This guy was really good. He was actually tired of eating it. It was really infuriating. However, when Master Xiahou thought of the endless immortal spring water in the underground river, he was very happy. With this water, he could completely expand the scale of the cultivation of green jade lotus roots and green jade prawns. Thinking of green jade prawns, Master Xiaohu's heart skipped a beat. He stared at Yun Chujio and asked, "Are you planning to steal green jade prawns from the underground river today?" Yun Chujio's eyes widened. "Master, I have already made a mistake once. How can I make it again? Besides, if I want to eat, I can ask Mo Feng for a few. How can he be so stingy as not to give them to me?" Master Xiahou was skeptical, and then he asked, "You came to me today to admit your mistake? That's one thing. I have another important matter to report to you. The thing is, when I went down to the underground river today, I suddenly realized that the water was speeding up, so I became suspicious." Yun Chujio told him about the matter. Master Xiahou suddenly stood up. "Is what you said true?" "It's absolutely true. Master, it was really a close call this time. If I hadn't happened to go to the underground river, then once the Divine Devil Hall came to cooperate, the consequences would be..." Yun Chujio didn't go any further. She knew that Master Xiahou could imagine the serious consequences. Master Xiaohu's forehead immediately broke out in cold sweat. If it weren't for this little girl's mischievous discovery of the incident between the underground river and the Divine Devil Hall, the murderous Origin sect would be in danger. Master Xiahou only recovered after a long time. He wiped the cold sweat off his forehead, took out his identity jade token, and was about to summon everyone for a discussion. "Master Xiahou, wait. Are you going to hold a meeting to discuss this matter with everyone?" Master Xiahou nodded. "That's right. This matter is of great importance. We must take a long-term plan. Master Xiahou, if you listen to me, don't tell anyone. Let me tell you, there must be a spy from the Divine Demon Hall in the Killing Origin sect. Moreover, their status might not be low. If you hold a meeting, it would not be worth it to alert the enemy." Master Xiahou thought for a while. "What you said makes sense. But if we don't hold a meeting, what if the Divine Demon Hall attacks the Killing Origin sect from the underground river? It's simple. Let's play along with the plan and do it secretly. Let's do it this way." Yun Chujio's eyes were full of slyness. Master Xiaohu's eyes became brighter and brighter. In the end, he laughed out loud and said, All right. Well, do as you say." "Master, I've done something amazing. Don't you have something to show for it?" A certain Jiao said shamelessly. "How about this? We will not pursue the matter of you stealing the green jade lotus root." Master Xiahou said with a twinkle in his eyes. A certain Jiao obviously did not agree, so the old man and the young man began to bargain. A certain Jiao's words were like a flower falling from the sky. She said something about saving the essence-killing sect from the fire and water, and something about the discovery of the underground river. It brought a lot of money to the essence-killing sect. In the end, the two finally reached an agreement. Every year, the green jade lotus root and green jade prawns produced by Water Mountain would be given 1/10 to this fellow. Moreover, in order to protect this fellow's reputation, Master Xiahou couldn't tell anyone about her stealing the lotus root. Master Xiahou thought to himself, this fellow is almost like a rat crossing the street. How could there be any reputation left to speak of? In the next few days, the murderous Yuan sect was in a state of chaos. It was said that Master Xiahou had a discerning eye and recognized talents. He handed the heavy responsibility of finding the lotus root thief to Yun Chujio. Everyone in the murderous Yuan sect felt that Master Xiahou's head was most likely filled with water. Wasn't this the same as asking a cat to find a fish thief? They didn't know if this fellow would be able to find the fish thief, but she would definitely use her authority to harm the green jade lotus root. Perhaps even the green jade prawns would suffer. Ever since Peak Master Mo of Water Mountain received this news, it was as if he was facing a great enemy. He personally stood guard at the Lotus Pond and Shrimp Pond, afraid that Yun Chujio would steal it and harm their Water Mountain's treasures. Yun Chujio, this fellow, used a chicken feather as a command arrow. She personally selected a group of subordinates and strolled around the Killing Origin sect. If this fellow didn't like anyone, he would directly order the arrest of them under the pretense of interrogating the whereabouts of the green jade lotus root. For a moment, everyone in the Shuyuan sect was afraid that they would be framed by Yun Chujio in the next moment. The four peak masters jointly requested to see Master Xiahou, asking him to take back his orders. Unexpectedly, Master Xiahou stroked his beard and said, "Only a thief knows what the so-called thief is thinking. Therefore, if we let this Yun Chujio investigate the matter of the green jade lotus root, she will definitely be able to get twice the result with half the effort." The four peak masters felt as if their hearts were going crazy. It seemed that their sect master's head was really wet. What kind of nonsense was this? However, when they saw Master Xiahou's firm attitude, they had no choice but to give up. After they returned, they each reminded the disciples not to go near Yun Chujio to avoid suffering. Even if these disciples avoided Yun Chujio, there were still many people who were arrested for groundless crimes. Moreover, many of them were inner sect disciples, and there were even true disciples. The most infuriating thing was that there were actually quite a number of elders who were also arrested by this fellow. NS crime was, instigation. The people from the Essence Murder sect were simply about to explode in anger. The dignified elders would instigate disciples to steal green jade lotus roots. Did you think that everyone was as shameless as you? However, everyone dared to be angry but did not dare to say anything. Fortunately, in another month, this fellow would be sent back to the Primordial Chaos sect. At that time, their Essence Murder sect would regain its peace. Now that they thought about it, although people from their Killing Origin sect were killed on the competition stage from time to time, their lives were still very peaceful. Their mood was also very happy. Unlike now, where they were like mice being stared at by cats every day, they were living in constant fear. If they were to choose the most unpopular person, Yun Chujio would definitely be elected with all the votes. She was now the public enemy of the entire Killing Origin sect. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. Nearly 1/5 of the people in the murderous Yuan sect had been locked up in the law enforcement hall by Yun Chujio. It was said that because there were too many people, this fellow passed through the hall in batches. Moreover, all kinds of torture took place in turn. It was simply too horrible to watch. That evening, Yun Chujio used the excuse of wanting to ask questions and called the disciples of Water Mountain who were guarding the Lotus Pond to the law enforcement office. Peak Master Mo smashed the teacup into pieces. "This is outrageous." This Yun Chujio originally looked pretty good, but now it seemed like she was a disaster. She called all the disciples who were guarding the Lotus Pond away. The other disciples don't know how to operate the arrays, so how are they going to patrol? Elder Zhu of Water Mountain said, "Peak Master, calm down. How about this? I have nothing to do, so I'll bring a few disciples to guard the Lotus Pond tonight." This sigh, all right. Then I'll be hard on you. In any case, the Lotus Pond and Shrimp Pond are halfway up the Water Mountain. There shouldn't be any big problems. Peak Master Mo said helplessly. After Elder Zhu left the meeting hall, he immediately brought a few disciples to the Lotus Pond. When it was almost midnight, Elder Zhu found an excuse to dismiss the few disciples, then opened the array and went to the edge of the Lotus Pond. Not long after, there was movement in the Lotus Pond. People wearing black masks and golden masks continuously swam ashore from inside. One of the leaders, Jin Mion, curled his lips and said, "I thought we would have to go through a lot of trouble this time, but I didn't expect that Yun Chujio has helped us a lot. If it weren't for you guarding here, we would have alerted others." Elder Zhu sneered, "Humph." Everyone said that Yun Chujio was smart, but she was just a crazy girl who jumped up and down. It just so happens that she has locked many people in the law enforcement office of the Golden Peak. When the time comes, we will chop the vegetables with a machete and directly kill all those people to avoid trouble. The golden masked man nodded his head in agreement. "Let's go. There is no time to lose. We will split into two groups. A part of us will stay here to guard the entrance of the underground river. If there is an accident, we can retreat at any time. We'll take down the water mountain with our men and use it as a base to coordinate with the people outside to destroy the murderous Yuan sect." Elder Zhu nodded in agreement. He immediately led the golden masked man and more than 1,000 subordinates to the courtyard of Peak Master Mo. To capture a thief, one must first capture the leader. After capturing Peak Master Mo, the rest of the people would be easier to deal with. "Why is there not a single disciple on patrol on this road?" the golden masked man asked in confusion. Elder Zhu laughed sarcastically. "Of course, this is all thanks to that Yun Chujio. Ever since she framed a few disciples who were on patrol to steal the green jade lotus root, no one was willing to stand guard at night. The Peak Master had no choice but to let the disciples stand guard at the outer perimeter, so we were unimpeded within the peak." Although the golden masked man felt a little strange, he was eager to make a contribution and did not think too much about it. He followed Elder Zhu all the way to the outside of Peak Master Mo's courtyard and surrounded it completely. The inside of the courtyard was pitch black. Elder Zhu and the golden masked man looked at each other and the two of them joined hands to slap at the courtyard door. The courtyard door fell to the ground with a loud bang, but no one came out of the house. Just as the two of them were puzzled, they saw lights suddenly lit up in all directions. At this time, they were already surrounded by thousands of people from the Killing Origin sect. Elder Zhu looked around in disbelief. How is this possible? The first thought in the golden masked man's mind was that Elder Zhu had betrayed them. He was so angry that he slapped Elder Zhu. "You dare to betray Master? You're courting death." Elder Zhu cursed angrily. "When did I betray Master? I don't even know what the hell is going on." Master Xiaohou was not in the mood to listen to their dog-eat-dog fight. With a wave of his hand, the two sides engaged in a fierce battle. Seeing that the situation was not good, the Jin Mion man hurriedly sent a signal to the people outside, telling them to launch an attack from the outside and disperse the troops here. However, after waiting for a long time, the people outside did not make any movements. He could only fight while retreating, intending to retreat to the Dark River. The Jin Mion man retreated to the surroundings of the Lotus Pond with great difficulty. He saw a team of people already waiting for him. The ground was filled with the corpses of his subordinates. It was obvious that they had all been killed. Jin Mion's head buzzed. The situation was over. With no other choice, he could only bite his index finger under the cover of his men and use a secret technique to escape. Jin Mion managed to escape with great difficulty. He immediately contacted the people who were originally at the stone wall at the exit of the Dark River. There was no way to send out the sound transmission talisman. There was only one reason for this, and that was that those people had also been killed. The golden masked man finally had to face such a fact. Other than a few golden masked men who had used a secret technique to escape like him, the rest of the people from the Divine Devil Temple were either captured or killed. The grand sneak attack plan ended in failure, and it was a crushing defeat. Jin Mion could not figure it out. Their actions were so secretive and well-planned. There was a group of people attacking outside the mountain gate, and there were people guarding the entrance of the underground river. How could they all be killed? It was not until the secret informant of the Origin Killing sect sent the news that they knew they had been fooled by Yun Chujio again. Catching the thief who had stolen the green jade lotus root was just a cover-up. She had indeed interrogated all the people she had caught, but she did not find the thief. Instead, she found a few informants of the Divine Devil Hall. Moreover, those people who had been caught were not locked up in the law enforcement office. Instead, they had been brought to the outside of the Origin Killing sect without anyone knowing. They were used to deal with the people of the Divine Devil Hall who were lying in ambush outside. The people outside the stone wall were personally captured by Yunchujio. According to the informant, Master Xiahou of the Murder Essence sect had long known about this hidden river. He had always sent people to guard it in secret. This time, he deliberately let the people from the Divine Devil Hall crawl into his pockets to beat the dog behind closed doors. After the golden-masked man reported everything to the purple-masked woman, the purple-masked woman was so angry that she gnashed her teeth and said coldly, "You guys go into hiding for a period of time first. When my divine skill is fully mastered, we will take revenge." At this moment, a certain Jiu instantly became the hero of the entire sect from being the public enemy of the entire sect. However, under normal circumstances, a hero would naturally be very popular. However, a hero like her did not have this kind of treatment. Everyone still did not like her. The reason was very simple. This fellow was too cocky. She wanted nothing more than to write the words hero on her forehead and show her merit everywhere. She wanted nothing more than for people to praise her every day. Most importantly, everyone was not stupid. They did not think that Master Xiahou knew about the hidden river. If he knew about it, why would he waste so much immortal spring water? When they thought about the case of the meritorious minister, a certain Jiu and the green jade lotus root from before, the answer was obvious. Yun Chujio must have discovered the hidden river when she stole the green jade lotus root. Although she had made up for it, it could not hide the fact that this fellow was a scourge. Seeing this, Yun Chujio did not have any reputation to speak of anyway. She might as well go all out and spend all her time in the Killing Origin sect. In the end, the four peak masters had no choice but to announce to the public that they were in closed-door cultivation to prevent this fellow from scouring the land again. The people of the Killing Origin sect only had one wish now, and that was to have the 3-month period come soon, so that this scourge could quickly scram back to the Mixed Origin sect. Finally, the 3-month period had arrived. On this day, the entire Sky Killing sect was filled with a festive atmosphere. There were lanterns and decorations, and everyone's face was filled with a joyful smile. The first thing they said when they met was, "That's great. That scourge has finally left." Master Xiahou felt that these 3 months were longer than 30 years. Before dawn, he had sent Lung Kuei to pack Yun Chujio into the Flying Spirit Tool and told him to send her to the Chaos Origin sect as soon as possible. It would be best if she never came again. As soon as the Flying Spirit Tool rose into the sky, Yun Chujio heard a tsunami-like cheer coming from the Killing Origin sect. This guy shamelessly said to Lung Kuei, "Senior brother Lung, sigh, it's a burden to be so popular. Listen, they are all calling me to stay. How about I stay in the Killing Origin sect for another month?" Lung Kuei ignored her and jumped into the cockpit. Full speed ahead. The faster the better. Yun Chujio, damn it, I saved a bunch of ungrateful people. If I knew this would happen, I would have used the underground river to feed the shrimps. However, fortunately, she had hidden more than half of the underground river water in advance. Quack. The original 4-hour journey was shortened to 1.5 hours. After Yun Chujio got off the Flying Spirit Tool, she waved her claws and said, "Senior brother Leng, remember to come and pick me up in 3 months." Before Yun Chujio could finish her words, the Flying Spirit Tool flew away with a swoosh. It was very fast, as if it was running for its life. Soon, it turned into a black dot and disappeared from Yun Chujio's sight. Fuck, just you wait. Sooner or later, you will cry and beg her to go back. The two Stone Pishio clearly saw Yun Chujio being despised. The two of them sighed silently. This little girl was really amazing. She had only gone to the Killing Origin sect for 3 months, yet she had already made them so afraid. As expected of Patriarch Yuan Tian's disciple, Yun Chujio naturally did not know what the two Stone Pishio were thinking. This fellow had wandered into the primordial chaos sect. This fellow had deliberately observed her for a moment. The people of the primordial chaos sect looked at her in a rather normal manner. This fellow thought to himself, the primordial chaos sect is still the best. They are not like the people of the primordial murder sect who are all ungrateful and ungrateful. Not long after Yun Chujio walked out, Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu came up to welcome her. It had been 3 months since they last met, so the three of them naturally had a lot to talk about. They chatted as they walked. Yun Chujio saw that Jin Ji's spiritual power had already reached the first layer of the spiritual void tier, and Yi Bingyu had also reached the 9th layer of the spiritual void tier. She was very happy for them, and this fellow also felt a sense of urgency. The spiritual power that she had stored now was enough to break through. All she needed was the process of being struck by lightning in her dantian. The last time she refined pills, she had attracted lightning. She would find an opportunity to try it again one day. Yun Chujio told Jin Ji and Master Bailey to go back first. She had to at least greet Master Bailey when she came back. This guy came to see Master Bailey. Master Bailey knew how to do things better than Master Xiaoho. He greeted Master Bailey with a warm smile and then changed the topic. Little Gio, I heard that you helped the Shiyuan sect a lot a few days ago. I guess you must be tired. In that case, you should rest well in the dormitory and don't run around. Yun Chujio felt stifled in her heart. This old man Bai Li was like a smiling tiger. The first part of what he said was for the last part. He wanted to lock her up. No way. Yun Chujio avoided answering. Instead, she handed 2 green jade roots to Master Bailey. Master Bailey, these 2 green jade roots are my gift to you. Master Bailey didn't refuse. He took them and only nodded. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth and handed Master Bailey another white egg. This is also a gift to you. Master Bailey still did not say anything. Yun Chujio felt stifled in her heart. However, this fellow was stingy. She thought to herself, it doesn't matter if you don't say anything. Anyway, she will still come out and take a stroll. If you have the ability, lock her in the hole of reflection. She was more than happy to do so. Thus, this fellow said with a smile, Master Bailey, since there's nothing else, then I will take my leave. Master Bailey originally thought that Yun Chujio would still give him some things, but he did not expect that the little girl would not give it to him. He could only say in disappointment, all right, go back and rest well. I will send someone to visit you at any time. Pooey. Visit my ass. Surveillance is more like it. This fellow wanted to cry but had no tears. She didn't do anything, so how did she become a street rat? Was the matter of the thought cave exposed? Or did she expose the matter of her luring the demonic beasts over and almost razing the Chaos Origins sect to the ground? Yun Chujio came out from Master Bailey's place and went to the big kitchen to see Old Man Yao. Fatty Song and Fatty Luo saw that the little fiend had returned, and their attitude was very respectful, afraid that Yun Chujio would find trouble with them. Yun Chujio ignored them and called Old Man Yao outside. Old Man Yao, this is my gift to you. Yun Chujio said and handed 2 green jade lotus roots to Old Man Yao. Old Man Yao took them and said seriously, Little girl, I heard that you have tormented the Shiyuan sect. In warning you, the Hunyuan sect is different from the Shiyuan sect. No matter if it's the foundation or the bottom line of tolerance, they are not the same. So you better take it easy. Yun Chujio giggled. Elder Yao, look at what you're saying. It's as if I've caused some trouble. I'm a good disciple who strictly observes the rules of the Hunyuan sect. Old Man Yao sneered. Good disciple? A good disciple who had entered the cave of reflection 3 times? Although he didn't know that the demon beast attack last time had something to do with Yun Chujio, he still felt that it was this little girl who had caused it. Yun Chujio and Old Man Yao continued to chat for a while before she went to find Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu to catch up. Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu asked about Yun Chujio's matters in the murderous origin sect. Yun Chujio told them everything she could. Then she took out 3 pill furnaces and the 3 of them started to cook the hot pot. If the people of the primordial murder sect saw this, They would be so angry that they would vomit blood. Because other than the demon beast meat, there were also green jade prawns and green jade lotus roots that the three of them cooked. Moreover, there was an unlimited supply, so they could eat as much as they wanted. All right, tell me quickly. During the time I was away, did our primordial murder sect have any gossip? Yun Chujio asked as she ate. You don't say. There really is one. Yi Bingying finally got her wish and got together with Fan Mingxuan. A few days ago, she even went to the kitchen to show off. I reckon that when they hear that you're back, they might show off in front of you tomorrow, Yi Bingyu said as she curled her lips. Yun Chujio felt that this was a good thing. She didn't want to be remembered by that Fan Mingxuan all day long. Two scumbags together would be good for the people. Oh right, there's one more thing. You caused a ruckus in the law enforcement hall of Kaiyang Peak. Those inner sect disciples, especially that Wu Shan, hate you to death. You'd better not go to Kaiyang Peak in the future to avoid trouble, Jin Ji advised. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and nodded. Speaking of this matter, she hadn't thanked Elder Jing for following Master Bailey to save her the last time. Although they had some grudges, it was better to pay him a visit since Elder Jing had saved her. Therefore, the next day, Hei Shinjio didn't care about what Master Bailey had said about having a good rest. She hopped outside Elder Jing's courtyard on Kaiyang Peak. Elder Jing, I'm here to visit you. Yun Chujio stretched her neck and shouted. Elder Jing was drawing a formation leaf in the room. When he heard Yun Chujio's voice, his hand trembled. Well, this formation leaf was considered useless. Elder Jing was holding his breath. This Yun Chujio was most likely his nemesis. Nothing good would happen to him if he met her. Elder Jing angrily walked outside and opened the courtyard door. He said coldly, I heard that the sect master told you not to wander around. Why did you come to see me? Elder Jing, as the saying goes, a smile is 10 years old. Why do you always have a straight face? Of course I'm here to thank you. If it weren't for you last time, I might have been locked in that self-reflection cave for 500 years. This is a small gift from me. Please accept it. Yun Chujio said and handed Elder Jing a green jade lotus root. This guy was already tired of eating lotus roots. He thought it was a good gift. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.